everybody being here today. Hopefully you can see our board all right. So, as some of you know already, I'm kind of doing away with the number that we've been using for the longest. So here's our new number, 410-714-5078. If you need to get in contact with us, that's the new number. I'll have a new background soon. Thank you very much, I am feeling a lot better right now. We'll see. I might do a little bit of coughing and stuff still, but I definitely am breathing better thanks to my wife, who made sure that I had some maca and some different things as far as vitamin C and some other things in my life. I really don't even remember exactly. I was kind of out of it once the live ended. I pretty much wrapped myself in my little cocoon and went to sleep. So she was able to bless me and take care of me with it, as the great herbalist that she is, be able to make sure that healing is manifested in my life. So always thankful and grateful to her. Getting ready to get the podcast going. We got YouTube up and going. Just getting this podcast going real quick. We're going to be talking about manifestation through prayer, as you guys can see up on the board. We're going to be using very familiar passage of scripture that you guys already know, which is the Lord's Prayer. So we'll use that to get things started. Interesting. I got a weird glitch going on today. That's all right. So, but anyways, we'll go ahead and get this started. We'll put the new number down so everybody can see what's going on. All right, either way. So we got this on and going and popping now. Thank you for being on. Those who are on YouTube, TikTok, or the podcast, we appreciate you all. Once again, this is the new number you can join us in. If you've been trying to reach out to us, or the last couple of days, I probably have not received anything. If you sent a text or a call or anything like that, we had to get rid of the last number because for like the third time now it's not working. So this is the new number if you want to get in contact with us, 410-714-5078. Excuse me. So later on, when we speak on, all the stuff that's going to pop up, remember that this new number is not, or this is not, our number has changed, okay? So if you can remember that our number has changed, right? And somebody's coming on again talking about the fact that my hair doesn't meet their qualifications. That's okay. If that's your way of saying hello to you as well. So we're going to talk about manifestation through prayer, all right? And manifestation through prayer is something that is necessary. And a lot of us ask questions, even I hear people talking about, I don't know how to pray. What should I pray? How should I use it? What's the word usage that somebody should use, et cetera, et cetera. And somebody seems to be trying to call now during the podcast. I don't know if you guys heard me or not, but if you were trying to call during the podcast, I'm not going to be able to answer. I'm not, during the live session, et cetera. I'm not going to be able to answer during the live, but I will try my best to get back to you ASAP. So when we get into this and we're talking about these things, it's 8:00 a.m. Eastern over here, right after it, right? 8:06. So we're going to talk about manifestation through prayer. So many people ask about this, ask about what it is, what's going on with this, why is my prayer not acceptable, this, that, or whatever the third. And I figured we should just go to the one who said this is how you're supposed to pray, right? They went to Yeshua HaMashiach, his disciples, and they came to him and they said, teach us how to pray. Now, this is in scripture, and you can look this up for yourself if you want to follow along, right? I'm just going to go off of memory, but if you'd like to be able to read it in whatever version of the Bible, I'm going to be coming from, King James Version. But you got Matthew chapter 6, and you can go verses 9 through 15. Really, a lot of us kind of stop at verse 13. right? But we'll kind of go verses through verse 15 just to kind of show a little bit of stuff at the end. But this is what's affectionately known as the Lord's Prayer, right? As the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, or forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Why? For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Right? We've probably all said that, heard it, seen it in the movies, etc., right? And so, the YouTube page is just simply hashtag Find Kofi. So, if you're looking for the YouTube page, you're looking for hashtag Find Kofi, right? That's what the YouTube page is. Matter of fact, you can look us up on any social media platforms with the same hashtag Find Kofi. But getting back to this, and I'm going to try and stay focused now, since we don't have that much time to go different places. And thank you for the likes, and thank you for the shares, and thank you for the gifts and all that great stuff in advance. We appreciate it. Here's where we are. Matthew 6:9-15, talking about manifestation through prayer. Not just prayer, right? Prayer is important, but we're talking about what manifestation through prayer. How do things manifest? What is manifest talking about? It's something that's coming to be, something coming through a conduit of something. Through my prayer, something is manifested, right? Now, if I'm praying, what is prayer? We got to deal with prayer real quick before we get deeper, right? So when we're talking about prayer, well, prayer is a thought. Even prayer, you don't have to be quiet. You can say it out loud. You can say it to yourself. You can pray through your actions, because prayer, in and of itself, right, is when we're dealing with prayer. With prayer, we're simply dealing with. Hold on one second. So with prayer, we're simply dealing with. What was I dealing with? Oh, sorry. With prayer, we're simply dealing with communication, right? And remember that they even did studies. You remember that what is it? They came up with that communication is only 7% verbal. So we oftentimes think that prayer is all over the place, doing a lot of different things, and we forget that prayer actually is not always verbal, right? You can pray without vocalizing, right? But this particular type of prayer, he's saying something specific. Now, they asked him a specific question. When you do some research on this, when you get to the scripture, you do some research and you look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, put these things together, you will discover that he was asked a question specifically as far as teach us how to pray. What is teach us how to pray? So his disciples heard him doing a lot of stuff, saw him doing a lot of things in his life, saw him manifesting a lot of things, and asked him a question, can you teach us how to pray? We see you doing a lot of great things. We want to be able to do what you do. Can you teach us how to pray? Can you teach us how to have communication with the Most High? Can you teach us how to be at a higher level through prayer? Can you teach us how to manifest a lot more things through what? Through prayer. That's what they were basically asking and begging of him. Please teach us how to pray. Shalom, Master. How you doing? So he says, okay, cool. We're going to show you. I'm going to show you how to pray. He goes and he says, you should pray in this manner. So first things first, when he talked about it, he said in this manner, right? So he didn't say you must pray exactly like this. He said there's a culture, there's a manner, right? We always talk about culture and stuff. There's a culture, or there's a way that we do this in the kingdom. There's a kingdom culture. There's a kingdom nature. There's a natural way, a natural way that one should pray. When you pray, pray like this. And so you go to a lot of churches where they literally pray the Lord's Prayer exactly the way it's written every single time, every single service. That's not what we were told to do, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't pray the Lord's Prayer, but what I'm saying is he didn't say, culturally speaking, you were never told, hey, every time you pray, pray this exact prayer, right? You were never told that. So when people try to get on that, this is a place where you're limiting what it is that you're supposed to do. He said when you pray, when you communicate, when you're trying to get manifestation through prayer, what I need you to do in your manifestation is to do what? What I need you to do is to start to, when you're communicating, this is how you communicate in this manner. I don't have a God. I have Elohim, and his name is Yahweh. I don't worship God. God is a false deity. He's a Germanic deity. So anybody who worships God, they can keep God. I don't do God. I do Elohim. But once again, in the culture, you're speaking as far as what? You're speaking as far as here. He's saying when you pray, pray in this manner. Pray like this. Right? Pray like this. Communicate like this. When you need something to be manifest, in other words, in your life, communicate in this manner. Right? If you need somebody who, well, once again, you don't understand the difference between God and Elohim, or God and the Netzer, or God and, various other deities. So if you don't know the difference between them, then that's something you need to study. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm talking about manifestation through prayer in our culture. My standard doesn't have to be yours. Yours doesn't have to be mine. But look up sometime the difference between God and Elohim, or God and a Netzer, or different things like that. You'll discover that they're not the same. I worship Yeshua HaMashiach. Jesus is a nickname given to him on the cross by Pontius Pilate. So if you choose to worship half man, half Zeus, you can do that. I worship Yeshua. That being said, culturally, right? Matthew 6:9 through 15, right? And people are going to go ahead, right? Double talking, reprobate mind. Yep. So people are stuck on that, and they can't even get what's there. They're so double-minded, trying to call me double-minded, that they don't understand what we're talking about. Are we talking about prayer? And will they see what I'm talking about if it's true or not? You see that? So you can already see when people are not in the right perspective, the right culture. Matthew 6:9, right? So he says, when you pray, pray like this. Don't pray the specific prayer. Pray like this. What does he say? Our Father. First thing off the bat, our Father. Now, what does the word Father mean when we talk about our Father? What are we saying specifically? When we're talking about our Father, we're talking about our source. That's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about our Aleph, the source of everything, the beginning of the Aleph Beit, right? Or some people will write it like this, whichever, right? We're talking about our source, our Father, right? Our Father being what? Our Father being the source of everything. So first and foremost, if I'm communicating and I'm talking about prayer, I need to communicate to the source. That goes to the place where, once again, somebody just asked a question, and usually, people, some of you have been on long enough, you already know how this goes, how this works, how people are trying to do things. But he says, our Father, which is our source. Everybody that's in existence, everything that's in existence has a Father, has a source. All of us come from this source. Our source, our Aleph in Aleph Beit, the beginning, right? Those of you who know what I'm talking about with Aleph Beit, we don't have time to go over that in extreme manner today. But our Aleph Beit, the beginning of our characters, the beginning of our Aleph Beit, that has every single word that's going to be spoken in this culture, right? It says our source. First things first, who is your source? Who are you talking to? Right? Even people who are on here, they're talking all this stuff, right? Well, that's because your standard is different. You're not coming from our source, right? So who are you talking to? You're talking to who? Who is your deity? Is your deity yourself? Is your deity a scientific theory? Is your deity a possibility of a bang that happened, billions and billions of years ago, before there was even any history, according to you guys, since history is supposed to only be 5,000 years old, right? Like 6,000, 7,000, 10,000, whatever you say, right? Our Father is our source, is our Aleph Beit, is even our Abba. Abba means source, means Father. So the first things he would have said is, when you're praying, are you praying to Abba? Are you praying to the source? Right? First things first. Before we talk about all this other stuff, before you're going to talk about, well, I don't know about this, and do you know what the source is? Do you know who the source is? And do you know that you come from the source? He is our Father, our source, and therefore, since he's our source, are you willing to go to the source in your communication, in your prayer? How are you going to manifest something eternal if you won't go to an eternal source? Right? Are you praying to one or many? You can ask that too. I don't know. That's a good question. Are you? Do you pray to many sources? Because do many sources? See, this is the thing when we get into polytheism and things like that. So if everything comes from one source, right, then how do you worship a whole bunch of sources? You know, we can go into a bunch of different places, but really we're going to stay focused since we don't have that much time, right? Our source. The source is first, right? If we don't recognize the source, if we can't see the source, then we're going to miss the rest. Our Father, our source, right? But now watch this. So our Father, our source, our Aleph Beit, even the beginning of every word that we would speak in this culture, our source. Now watch this. What's the next part? So he's all of our what? Source. It doesn't mean we're all his children, right? Romans chapter 9 tells us that, right? And other various sources. Even Yahshua HaMashiach says that some people's father or source is the devil. So just be right. So the source of all creation doesn't mean that all creation is a child. To be a child, you must be adopted. Adopted being a legal term saying that you must be accepted or appointed, right? But our Father, our source, as far as creative, as far as just the flesh, as far as the excuse me, the physical creation, our Father, who is where? Where is he at? See, then that's the important part. So our source is in a specific place, who art in, we would say, heaven. Or some people know it as Shemayim, right? Or we would know it as Shemayim, but we use the term heaven since more people like it. So our Father, who art in heaven, right? So our Father, the source, the Aleph, right, is in heaven. His throne, right? His throne is in a specific spot, right? Our Father is on the throne in a specific spot. We call it heaven. Okay? So if he's in heaven, right? If it's gibberish, okay, thank you for very much. You don't have to stay on, right? So, and if you serve Lucifer, then that's fine. But even Lucifer, he shakes at his boots at the sound, at the name of Yahweh, of Yahshua, etc., because he has no authority here, and neither do you. So, our Father, who is in heaven, right? Our Father, who is in heaven, right? Our Father, where the source is in heaven. Now, Lucifer kicked out of heaven, right? Which is why Lucifer is going around to and fro seeking whom he may devour. Got kicked out because he doesn't have any authority. Matter of fact, he doesn't even have any name. The word name means authority. That's why we don't even call him Sata, you know what? We call him At Satan, or the Satan, because he's not even worthy of having a name. If you know Hebrew culture, if you know Hebrew language, you would know we don't even refer to him with a name because he has no authority. He's not even in heaven. Excuse me. Right, so our source lives in heaven. So his power, you got to catch this now. We're talking about how do we get manifestation through prayer. When I'm praying, I have to pray with the mindset that his authority, when I'm communicating, when I'm even picking up trash, because trash is communication with the Most High, everything that I'm doing, right? Yeah, so our Father who is in heaven, right? That's where his throne is. So his throne, that's where the power is. Remember that. Keep that in mind, okay? If you're taking notes, if you're taking mental note, if you're listening to this on the podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube, take mental note. This is going to be important. Our source is in heaven. Our Father, who he is, where he is, his structure, where he rules from, right? We are the colonizers that have gone into this place that's called Earth to continue to colonize and continue to gentrify this Earth with his culture, right, and his way. But our Father, he stays on the throne. That's where the heaven is. That's where the power is. It's in heaven, okay? Remember that. Why is that important? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name, or his authority, because the word name simply just means authority, right? The author of all, he has the authority. He authorizes everything. He allows you to have free will. He allows you to have the body you have. He allowed time to come into existence. As much as people want to tell us that something came from nothing, but then want us to believe that even though something came from nothing, nobody would create the nothing into something, right? He's the one who authorized all. Our Father, we're talking about prayer here, right? This is our standard. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be his name, be his what? Authority, right? So our Father, he is the source. Did you catch that? Yeah, I understand Matthew's not his exact name. Thank you very much. Right, just like Jesus isn't the real name, et cetera, et cetera. That I appreciate that. That's not where we are, though. Right, I appreciate you. Thank you. Just hold on with this. I promise you, I'm not somebody who just has no clue what they're talking about. Just stick with me. All right. So manifestation through prayer is where we are. Right, and so our Father who art in heaven, the throne where he is in heaven, Shemayim, right? Shemayim, hallowed be his authority. His authority is greater than any other authority that exists. Okay? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be his authority. Hallowed be his name. He has an authority that nobody else can mess with. That's why we should even say his name correctly. When people say it doesn't matter what his name is. Not true at all, because if it doesn't matter what his authority is, then it means that we are not authorized to do anything. It is at the authority of Yeshua HaMashiach. That's why his name is Yeshua. Yeshua literally meaning to cry out to Yahweh, right? That's why Romans 10:13 literally says, if anyone who calls upon the name of Yeshua shall be saved, because Yeshua, the Shva, literally means to cry out, and the Yah part means Yahweh, cry out to Yahweh, right? The authority is important. Right, to get the authority is important. To get the universal law, the kingdom law, the marital law, the natural law, the laws of attraction, etc., etc., they are vital to getting this. So our Father, right, our source, whose power structure, his throne is in heaven, right, hallowed be his name, his authority, his branding, even, if you will, for those who were there when we talked about branding, right? He has a brand, right? You can't go to I'm sorry, you asked how to say it. Let me just write this out real quick. I got to stay on track, okay? But I'm gonna write this out for you real quick. I'm not gonna write it in Hebrew, but I'll just write out, you know, a quick way of being able to try and remember it. All right? Yah. There's H's. This H right here has a sound. Yah, Shai, Yashvai, Yashvai, which is why some people say Yahweh Shai or Yahweh Shai or Yeshua. You'll hear some people say whatever, right? Yashvai, all right, right. But hallowed be his name, even though that's not even the one we're talking about right now, because this is the person who's speaking about how to be an authority with Yahweh, or some people would say Jehovah, right? But that's what I was saying earlier, okay? So Yashvai, right? Hallowed be his authority, his name. His name is greater. Okay? His name is greater. His authority is greater, right? His name, yeah, even when people do that with YHWH, right? Even it should be more like YHVH, but either way, I'm going into this. So hallowed be his name, his authority, right? Hallowed be his what? His authority. His authority is greater. So our source, who art in heaven, his authority should be lifted up above all other authorities. What comes next, right? Now that we've discussed this, watch this. Check this out. So we know we dealt with the source, right? Our Father, our source, his power structure is in heaven. Hallowed be his name or authority. Right? What's the next part say now? This is what the aim always was. Christ spoke on this more than he spoke on anything else. Oh my goodness. Okay, looks like we lost a bunch of people. Until 8:25 on December 10th. Sale promotion and use. Okay, everybody who's watching, they said that we did some other stuff. Interesting. They said that we were selling criminal activities or selling or regulated goods. Some content may be removed if it related to activities or goods that are illegal. Wow. They straight up lied on us. Well, anyways, I don't know if anybody's coming over to the other one, but I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to go over to the other channel. Wow. Yeah, TikTok is doing a whole bunch of extra stuff. We're gonna go over to the other channel though. I apologize, guys. And yeah, I don't know what happened. So let me just make a video real quick so I can go ahead and and get this. We're gonna make a quick video just to show them what's going on. So wow, forgive me, guys. Hold on 1 second. I got a lot of people who are gonna be saying they dropped. So, but yeah, so they really. So real quick, so just I see you guys. So real quick, just making a video. I'm actually doing the live, so I'm not going to stay on here before you guys long. TikTok or somebody on TikTok, I'm not sure which one, but somebody tried to say that I was out here saying some stuff, I guess, selling illegal things or doing things like that. So our phone number is on here, so possibly that's what they're talking about, but they allow people to do commercials and all types of stuff on here all the time and sell merchandise and stuff anyway. So I'm pretty sure that's not what they're talking about, but they said I was doing illegal activities and selling illegal goods and things like that. We're talking about the kingdom of heaven here and talking about Matthew 6:9-15. I was about to say our source, Father, heaven, name, and then get to the kingdom. So if anybody would like to ask TikTok how this is a legal activity for us, please feel free to. I appreciate you guys in advance for doing so. And I guess we'll be doing live videos on the other platform, on the original channel till December 10th. So if you have the original channel, I'm moving over there. Shalom. So, so sorry about that, guys. TikTok has decided to act a little crazy, and they said that they don't want us on till December 10th, and hopefully we'll be able to get some help from you guys. But I'm going to go to the original channel to go live still on TikTok. But yeah, this is pretty interesting that they would do this. But anyways, we're going to keep on going. And this will be on YouTube later anyways. But I'm going to go over to, for those who are listening still, I'm going to go over to our original page. I'm going to head over to the original page once this loads up. And that way we can continue to have this conversation. So forgive me a second. Hey, once again, my Facebook. So I don't know, but we're gonna just give me a second. I'm just waiting for this to load up, and once this loads up, we'll continue. So for those of you who are joining us on here, so you can find this. I mean, it's not gonna be live, but I guess I'm be on YouTube. I'm live right here on the podcast right now. So thanks for coming over to that. Also, too, I'm going to go over to our original TikTok page. I'm so glad that I didn't just leave it and I kept it around. And we're going to go over, so it's Kofi_40 without the number 2 on it. And I'm about to go live on there. So we'll see what happens on here once we go live. Let me see. What we were talking about, prayer. So thank you guys who hung in there, who were watching this on YouTube. But probably either one or two things happened. Somebody came on, didn't like what I was saying, and messed things up, or by saying I was doing something illegal, or TikTok doesn't like what it is, because TikTok's actually been messing with stuff. Even though we've had thousands of people, tens of thousands of people on every morning now, every rising, they've been actually trying to lie and say that we don't have but like 300 and something people on at the time. So they're trying their hardest. So is YouTube. That's why I said at some point we got to try and get stuff together to where we have our own platform, or that we continue to utilize these platforms. But I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming over to there. But if you'd like to try and come over to TikTok, I'm still on TikTok again. Just on the original page right now instead of the other one. That's why we were telling people for the longest, try to follow that original page too if you can. But we're on, so I apologize. At least you guys will have a spot where you can come and see us. So if you want to try and come over to the original TikTok page, We're thankful and grateful for those of you who come over, and you know, until if you guys do have time, if you'd like to be able to ask TikTok for me, why is it that we were having Bible study and they said that we were doing illegal activity on here. If you'd like to ask them to see if they can help us with that, that would be great, because it doesn't really make sense. I don't know what we were doing that was illegal in a Bible study. Either way, though, so we're talking about manifestation through prayer, Matthew 6, verses 9 through 15. And so we have the source, we have the heaven, we have the name, right? So his source is the same. Heaven is the place. Name is the authority. So our Father, our source, is in heaven. His name, therefore, what? Because he's our source. His power structure's in heaven. Therefore, he has the authority, right? So once again, he has what? He has the source, right? So our source, he is in heaven. That's his throne, right? And his authority is there, right? Hold on one second. Those who are on TikTok. A lot of people trying to figure out where we are. I get it. But yeah, this is a lot of stuff going on. That's why I said, like, if you want this life, yeah, you understand. You understand. Like when people say, "Oh, I want this, I want that," you know, I've gotten used to just being somebody that people want to cut off constantly and consistently, right? A lot of people don't have any you know, any fortitude or any accountability, right? So they want to be all over the place. But our Father, right, our source, who is in heaven, has authority, right? Why is that? Because he has the kingdom. The kingdom, right? So, or not only that, excuse me, he has kingdom. He gives kingdom. He is a king who has domain, right? So our Father, our source, who art in heaven, hallowed be his name, his authority. Therefore, you have the right to do whatever you want with your kingdom. We're petitioning you that your kingdom, we're praying you, right? You ever heard somebody say, "I pray thee, sir, do this or do that," right? We're praying to you, right? That what? That your kingdom would come. You as a king have domain. We're praying that your kingdom, you as a king, would help us to dominate. Right? That's what we're saying here. So our Father, who art in heaven, right? Hallowed be thy name, your authority. Therefore, you are the king of all, and we're asking that you help us to have domain or dominion or even to dominate. Did you catch that? That's what we're dealing with. Our Father, our source, who where is in heaven, hallowed be your what? Your authority, your name, and therefore you have the right to have as a king, have dominion. And we're asking to tap into what you as the king have. Right? Oh yeah, thank you very much, Sister Dashima. Yeah, we just went to the other channel. So it is what it is, right? But that kingdom, right, come. Your kingdom, you as a king, we want you to have domain, right? Your kingdom as a king, let you have domain. That's what we would like for you to have, right? Your king as a king, dominate, right? That's what we're saying. So you as a king, dominate. Our Father, our source, who art where in heaven, hallowed be your authority. You have dominion, and we're asking, we pray of thee that you what? That you give us what's in your kingdom. Let your kingdom come. Right? So your kingdom is doing what? Your kingdom is coming in a direction, right? And as your kingdom comes, we also are asking that it be attached to your will. Right? Now, if somebody writes out a will, right? Or a living will, a will, etc. They're saying that this is what I will, this is what I want, this is what I'm asking to be done consistently, right? So we're not just getting the kingdom, but we're getting a legal will, a documentation, right? The Bible is what a will. We're getting a documentation of what? So your kingdom's coming, and your will is being done. Once again, your kingdom is coming, and your will is being done. What's happening? Your kingdom is coming, and your will is being done. So I can't accept your kingdom, or I can't even expect your kingdom if I don't accept your will. Did you catch that? Right? A lot of people want the kingdom, will not accept the will. If you can't expect kingdom if you don't accept will. Right? Our Father, whose throne is here, has all authority, has a kingdom that he doesn't mind making sure is in you. Matter of fact, it's supposed to be in you, but you have to accept his will. And by the way, that's the way it works across the board. You have to accept what? Excuse me, his will. Across the board. No matter what it is, right? You have to accept what? His will. And a lot of people are trying to get manifestation through prayer or communication, or trying to manifest things in the earth realm. But our Father who's art in heaven, hallowed be his name. His kingdom comes, but it comes with his will. Right? And we want his will to be done where? On Aretz, on earth, on Asase. We want it done on earth. But watch this. It can only be done on earth the same way it is in heaven. Because in heaven, he is the source. He is the authority. He's in heaven. That's where his throne is. His kingdom will come from there. You have to accept his will. Then it can come to earth. But it will only come to earth if you've accepted his will, if you're doing things the same way it's done in heaven. Right? That's the exact, that's the reality, right? Our Father, our source, who art in heaven, he has a throne there. Hallowed be his name, his authority. Your kingdom come, and your will be done on earth. That's what my request is. That's what my petition is. My petition, I pray of thee, what? That your kingdom come, your will be done on earth the same way it's done by you, who is the source, authority, throne in heaven. I'm asking for the same thing. I'm asking that we have the same authority. I'm asking for the same conversation. I'm asking for the same mindset. I'm asking for the same mentality, right? So our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth the same way that it's done in heaven. So I must study heaven. I must study Shemayim. I must study your culture if I'm going to get your culture in my life. Excuse me. So if I'm going to get your culture in my life, I must study your culture. I must be about your culture. I must be about your will. Right? Excuse me, guys. So I have to know about your culture. I have to know about heaven. Right? If I don't know about it, I'm in a bad place. If I want to establish your will, but I haven't studied the kingdom, I haven't studied monarchy, I don't know Hebrew characters, I'm in a bad place. And a lot of us are in really bad situations when it comes to the kingdom, and we have no knowledge of kingdom, but we have no knowledge of heaven. We have no knowledge of the one who created everything. We have more knowledge from everybody else who are being constant and consistent in, in approaching things from a point of view that's not real, or that's a lie, or that's theoretical, right? So we go by theories. Theories are not facts, but you believe theories are facts because they teach you in school that things that are theoretical are facts, right? Like you believe, they tell you straight up that it's a theory, but you still believe that the theory is fact because you've never looked up a theory is. Meanwhile, you have an eternal source and never check out the eternal source, trying to get things done on earth, but don't try to look at, if I want, the power of eternity, why don't I just look to the eternal source and what that eternal source wills for me on earth? The same way that it wills for its own self, its own kingdom, its own domain, its own environment in heaven, right? Then the next part is interesting. After we go through that, right? After we've gone through all that, our Father, our source, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom is coming and your will is being done on earth the same way it is in heaven. Once all that is established, now is when we ask for something very specific. All that has to be established first. I said a lot of people don't know this, and it's sad. This is not taught in churches, schools, or at home. Yeah. So watch this. After we've established all these things that we're talking about, after we've established all of these great things we're speaking of, Now, the next part says, after we do that, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, give us this day your daily bread. Now, let the manna from heaven rain down. Now, what do I need for today? And remember, the manna that rained down from heaven, they had to use it in that day. Anything that they kept past that day, it went away, right? It was rotten. It was no good. It had no value, right? So you're asking for what you need today, but you haven't first acknowledged that there is a source who has a throne in a specific place called Shemayim, who has the authority that's greater than anything else, therefore has kingdom, and therefore has a will that you should be doing, and therefore the will is done. So whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, vice versa as well. So once you've gotten to a certain place in this, now you can start asking for daily bread. Now you can start saying, okay, I need this specifically. Now you can start reaching out and saying, I need these specific things. I can't go without these specific things, this specific type of stuff or whatever. Now you're in a position to do that. You see that? Now you're in a position to do those things. Right? But before you go through that, you're not allowed to do it. So you got to ask yourself the question, are you willing to go through those things? What are you willing to go through? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to obtain? How are you willing to grow? What are you willing to put effort towards? Right? What are you willing to put that energy, that effort, that talent, that energy, etc. towards? You can't get it without making sure that first you've got kingdom mentality locked. Then you can start asking, what's my daily bread? What do you have for me? Give us this day my daily bread, and lead me not into temptation. Right? I'm sorry. Actually, I'm skipping over. So, and give us today our daily bread, right? And forgive us. Now, the next part is then forgiveness. Yes, because you recognize Adon's authority, and you may ask, yeah, right, because you have to be authorized. Remember, the centurion guard, I'm a man of authority because I'm a man under authority. So you don't even have to step foot in my house. Just speak a word. I know how authority works, right? Give me your daily bread. Just speak a word, because I've said you're authorized, and I've authorized you to do it in my life because I know who you are, right? Now, after that, I'm not just going to stop and give me your daily bread. Now I need to make sure that we deal with this piece right here that's blocking even what the daily bread might give you. So before I can even get to the daily bread, or before I just focus on the daily bread only, let me also ask about forgiveness. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there real quick, because when I'm out here, because Yahshua said, and all the stuff you're talking about, understand that forgiveness is a piece, because you have to give somebody the right before they do something. Forgive, right? And if you're giving place, some of you are giving place to the devil because before somebody does something, you can't forgive. You can't forgive yourself. Before we can get into this daily bread piece, have you forgiven yourself? Have you forgiven others? Have you asked for forgiveness for things that you've done? Because if you haven't been forgiven, then you're not in a legal place. Righteousness literally means in a place of right legal standing. So if you're not righteous or in a place of right legal standing, then you can't ask for this stuff. So where are you in your forgiveness piece? Where are you in that? Have you grown in your forgiveness? Have you grown in your forgiveness? Have you become a greater when it comes to forgiveness? Are you still stuck in the same place? Right? You can't get to the righteousness, right legal standing, and what your daily bread for is all that if you have no forgiveness and if you haven't forgiven others, right? Right? So forgiveness, right? And lead us not into temptation. After I'm forgiven, I have to follow your lead now, right? Because you will not lead me into temptation. Doesn't mean that you won't be tempted. But temptation, remember, temptation is a different word. Temptation, like we talked about with motivation and all these other words, T-I-O-N on the word literally makes it a noun. So you could be tempted. You could have to deal with some things, but you are not in a place of temptation. You will not give in to tempting. You will never be tempted to a place where you will give in to things that will lose your righteous legal standing. Why? Because you are following the Most High. Why? Because He's your source. You're focusing on His spot in heaven. You're focused on what He authorizes, His name, right? You're focusing on His kingdom. You're focusing on His will. You're trying to do things on earth the way they're done in heaven and vice versa. And therefore, You don't have to, you know, you're getting his daily bread. Because you're getting his daily bread, you also comprehend that you better forgive and be forgiven for anything that might take you away from what his daily bread can do for you. And therefore, because of those things, you won't worry about temptation. You might be tempted, but you never will worry about what you're tempted by, because what you're tempted by is not even worthy, right, to be compared to the glory which shall be revealed. So temptation, lead us not into temptation, but what deliver us from evil. So you will never fall into temptation, because you will be, because it's guaranteed in following him, you will be delivered. Specifically, you'll be delivered from evil, right? You'll be delivered from evil. You'll not just have to deal with evil or just hope that you'll be able to deal with evil. You will be what? Delivered from evil. Right? Why do we know that this can happen? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. For thine is the kingdom. And from that place of position, that power that he has, thine is the kingdom, and he has the power, and he has what? The glory. The word glory literally meaning the weight, the heaviness that's on his shoulders. He can handle it all forever. Amen. He has all of this because it belongs to him. This is just a kingdom sandwich, if you will. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Right? Then thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts. That's the meat, right? All that stuff, right? And then at the end, it gets back to kingdom. For thine is the kingdom. That's the other piece of bread. It's about his kingdom. It's the kingdom that's going to help you. This kingdom mentality is going to help you to manifest through prayer. So when you're praying, when you're communicating, when you're going through your life, when you're having your thoughts, when you're putting your hands on other people to pray for them, when you're putting your hands on yourself, when you're looking for healing, all these different things, it's the kingdom. That's going to be the thing that gets us to where we are. You said, but why debate what someone wrote? Why not break down absolute truth? Okay. Somebody wrote out the word truth. Should we debate that, or should we look at that and say, well, there's a such thing as absolute truth? You see what I'm saying? Or, I mean, I don't know. It depends on what your version of absolute truth is. Your standard doesn't have to be my standard. So if your standard is you can do whatever you want, then you can do whatever you want, right? If your standard is you believe in something different, then that's fine. I'm telling you from a standard of those who are about the kingdom, this is what we're trying to do to manifest through prayer, through communication in our lives. So it's not something that's debatable within our standard. If it's something that's debatable within yours, then, then that's fine. It would depend on what you're talking about. And when I talk about absolute truth, though, I believe in things that are absolute. Now, I would say kingdom law, but maybe you don't believe in that. But I believe kingdom law establishes universal law. I believe it establishes natural law. I believe it establishes laws of attraction. I believe it establishes law of first mention. I believe it establishes constitutional law, like unalienable rights and two witnesses, and not having to do something that makes you or say something that makes you, basically admit to criminal behavior, or Sixth Amendment saying that you have the right to be able to challenge somebody's authority or somebody's name. Those are things that we go by. But at the end of the day, if your idea of that is something different, or maybe you haven't even addressed or looked at it that way, because people are usually more mystical than practical, I will fully admit to you, when it comes to the kingdom, because people pick this up and they usually go off of what somebody else told them. They don't even know that this is obviously not even the original version, because it would be a version. It's not. It's the King James version. So even this would be a version of it, right? Or even the original King James version would still be just a version of it, right? If we were to go back before that, go into Latin, that would still be a version of it. A Greek version, that would be a version of the Septuagint, that would be a version of it. The first four in Hebrew, that would be versions of it, right? So at the end of the day, I believe that you should get back to the original writing, see the original culture. What did we as a people actually mean when it was written? When you say man wrote it or was inspired by it, just like when you go see, a play, or you go see a movie, and Denzel Washington goes into a room and basically meditates and feels like he's getting all these spirits together, gets them in subjection. I think it goes out and does the scene in Glory, or goes to do a scene in Training Day, and then you say, man, that was powerful, this and that, or whatever. Or you watch The Matrix and you say, damn, that's some really good points I could get from this. And these people literally took somebody's story, twisted it, and put some other things on purpose spiritually in it, whether you believe in spirits or not, even though the word like pneumatical thought, is spirit, or even the word psyche, which you call psyche, literally means the soul. So psychology be the study of the soul. It's about you might not like some of these things, but a lot of the things that you're going by, whether you believe in the Bible or not, you're going by biblical truths, or at least perversions of what was originally written, right? So, I think that a lot of people need to rethink that. That being said, though, I must take my leave. I apologize to those that were on. We're trying to be with us earlier. Those that are going to watch this on YouTube later, thank you for switching over. If you came over from TikTok, I appealed what TikTok said because they said we were trying to sell things or trying to sell things illegally, or to move goods. And so somebody, I've never seen that complaint on us before. So somebody obviously really didn't like what we were saying and lied. If you'd like to be able to go to TikTok, I'm probably going to share the video I made on the original page, on the second page, and share it on this original page. If you'd like to, make sure you go in the comment section and maybe, put at TikTok and let them know, hey, why are you guys doing what you did, or saying what you said, or saying that they were selling illegal things or whatever, and maybe we'll see what happens. Or maybe if you want to help us out, you can contact somebody that, I don't know how to, contact somebody that works at TikTok and let them know for us or whatever. We've done a long time ago, but up until then, it says that December 10th, which is quite a long time, but it says that up until December 10th, I'm not supposed to be able to go live on there again. Obviously, we have other platforms. Maybe we'll go on Instagram some more. Obviously, we have this page, so we'll go on this original page. So this page some more. Excuse me. We'll go to, we have YouTube, even though we can't go live because they just, canceled out the YouTube page. The World Health Organization did. We have the podcast. So if you want to come on the podcast, that'll be on. We'll try to make sure we utilize that. So I apologize. They saw that we were getting up to tens of thousands of people. They cut it. And they'll probably hope that, whenever we're allowed, whether it's in a couple of days or whether it's in a few months, I guess, or a couple months, I guess their goal is to try and keep us away from you guys as much as possible. We're going to continue to put stuff out there. I'll try to see if I can maybe put some stuff on Facebook every once in a while. But just, try to find this. We'll still be live. Yes, he is, right? And but we still, devil probably didn't like the fact that I said that you have no authority. Could have been a devil worshiper because there were quite a few devil worshipers on the day. Either way, we're thankful and grateful. Our number is up here, 410-714-5078. Once again, that's 410-714-5078. Again, I say 410-714-5078. Last time, that's 410-714-5078. We're thankful. We're grateful. We appreciate it. And we know we're in a fight, and I thank you guys for being committed. I'm going to do my best to, I guess I'll try to see if I can put out some videos on the TikTok channel, since a lot of people were coming there, but, at the end of the day, we pretty much were primarily getting our focus off of the live versions. So feel free to join us for that. So just real quick, yes, the classes do start next Monday. The classes will be as follows. On Mondays will be Mondays will be marriage. Tuesdays will be monarchy. Wednesdays will be sovereignty. Thursdays will be natural medicine 1. Fridays will be fibroid cysts. Saturdays will be Hebrew characters. And we're asking for $90 minimum donation for each class that you're going to participate in. And so we're thankful and grateful for that. Thank you guys who are helping us out with Yah's Land Project 83. We're grateful no matter how much you gave towards it. The minimum donation we're asking per family is $83.34. That guarantees that October 1st we'll be able to go out and start looking for some land, October 1st of 2022. So we're thankful, grateful for each and every one of you being part of that. I look forward to being back on here very soon. Prayerfully, we'll see what happens. Prayerfully, we'll be back on Kofi_42 sooner than later. But if we're not, we'll still go back on to Kofi_40. The new number is right here, up here, 410-714-5078. 410-714-5078. Again, that's 410-714-5078. Again, I say last time, 410-714-5078. I must take my leave. Thank you all for being on. I appreciate the king and queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside that kingdom or queendom yet, I appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. Please follow my wife and support her at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. You can find her on TikTok, YouTube, and her website. And we're thankful and grateful for each and every one of you being on. Our prayer is that you not just be hearers of this word, but doers as well. And so we're thankful, we're appreciative, and we'll talk to you guys later. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, aka the Shadow Band One, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we're always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. Until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember as always that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, we shall be the reason this world changes for the better. Bare minimum will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, fam. Peace.